It is such a nice feeling when you hit that shot that starts slightly right and then curves beautifully back exactly towards the pin. This shot is called a draw. In this video I will show you 3 essential but at the same time very simple steps how you can turn every single slice into a draw. This will not only help you to hit the ball more consistent but definitely also a lot further. Let's go! In order to master the draw, we first need to understand the necessary impact conditions. We have 2 main components. The first component is the club path at impact, which means if the club head is traveling to the right of the target at impact, straight, or to the left. For a draw, we need the club path to be a few degrees to the right, so the club head is swinging to the right of the target at impact. The second component is then the club face orientation at impact. The club face orientation largely determines where the ball will start, let's say 75%. So in order for the ball to start to the right, the club face orientation, represented by that blue stick here, needs to be a few degrees to the right of the target. The club path then is even more to the right of that club face orientation. Let's say the club path is 4 degrees to the right of the target. The club face then is 2 degrees right of the target, which means it is 2 degrees closed to the club path but open to the target. So the ball will start to the right and curve back to the left. I promise you, if you get these 3 steps right, you will draw every single shot. I will demonstrate these movements in a slightly exaggerated way in order to make things more clear. But you should definitely try to exaggerate them yourself because the body typically doesn't really want to change movement patterns. And in order to see results the quickest way possible, you definitely have to try to exaggerate them. Only if you start curving the ball too much to the left, then you can be a little bit more subtle with the changes. The first step is to have the proper setup. As we already discussed, we need the path to be a few degrees to the right. The club face is slightly close to that path, but still open in relationship to the target. We will adjust that already in the setup, so we don't have to change anything throughout the swing. How do we do that? At setup, we will push the handle a little bit more forward than usual. Pushing the handle forward will also push the path more to the right. Pushing the handle forward will also lead to a path more to the right. But you can also see pushing the handle forward at setup opens the club face. Here comes the trick. Now I will close the face slightly before I grip. Now I have a closed face to the path to the right. I will push the handle forward, close the face slightly, and this will give me exactly the correct alignments, and now we don't have to change anything throughout the swing. 2 other important keys for the correct setup. We have the ball position a little bit more to the right, more back, which will help us get the path even more to the right. The last thing I want to mention is the fact that we need our belt buckle, the lower center, to be a little bit more forward than our upper center, the sternum. The more forward the lower center is in relation to the upper center, the more the path will be to the right. And as we discussed, we need that for a good draw. So we have the ball position a little bit further back and we have the lower center a little bit more forward than our upper center, and combined with that closed face to path relationship, we will be perfectly set up for a draw. The second step is to create quite a bit of shoulder turn in the backswing, as shoulder turn in the backswing will help us get the path more to the right. I'm talking about the backswing. Shoulder turn in the downswing will actually lead to a path more to the left. Shoulder turn in the backswing will get us more depth to the hands and will also lead to a higher club head speed. So how do we achieve that nice big shoulder turn in the backswing without putting stress on our body? The key is to activate the lower body in the correct way. We want to turn the hips in the backswing, and in order to turn the hips in the backswing, we need to have the proper leg movement. The lead leg should bend quite a bit throughout the backswing, which means the left or lead knee will work towards the toes a little bit, and the lead knee should also work inwards a little bit. At the same time, our trail leg will straighten quite a bit throughout the backswing, and only in doing so I'm able to turn my hips. And now I can turn also the spine quite a bit without putting any stress on our body. At the same time, this proper turn will also maintain this good relationship lower body to upper body. By turning correctly, I will make sure that my lower body in the backswing will still be a little bit closer to the target than my upper body, my sternum, and this will ensure that the club path will definitely be to the right. The third step is to have the best possible finish position. Obviously, the downswing and the follow through have a huge impact on the ball flight, but we can influence the downswing and the follow through immensely with the correct finish position. So we don't have to think about all these movements, we only think about the 3 checkpoints in the finish position. The checkpoints I'm telling you now may not look like this with every single tour player you know, but going more towards these checkpoints will definitely help you hit the draw more consistently. So the first checkpoint is the fact that the lead hip is the closest point towards the target. The second key checkpoint is the fact that the trail shoulder feels rather low and back, opposed to feeling high and forward. It feels more low and back. The third checkpoint is the fact that the trail foot doesn't come off the ground a lot, and that the trail heel moves more towards the target instead of moving away from the target. The trail heel moves more towards the target. These 3 checkpoints make sure that you have enough hip slide in the downswing into the finish position. We need hip slide first to make sure that the low point of the swing arc is enough forward, and we need hip slide to make sure that still the lower body is closer to the target than the upper body, which will help us get the path more to the right. And only when sliding the hips enough in the downswing, we have the possibility to extend our body. And the extension is a very, very key component to a lot of club head speed. And these 3 checkpoints, make sure you get that right. So how can you practice that? The first step, the setup, go back to the setup checkpoints in the video. Make sure you practice in front of a mirror or set up a camera that you can watch yourself, and make sure you implement all these necessary checkpoints as we discussed. For the second step, the turn, I suggest following exercise. You place a club on your upper leg like so, and now you push with your trail hand back. And by doing so, you can see that my legs move the way we just discussed. The trail leg extends, the left knee, the lead knee comes a little bit inwards and a little bit towards my toes. And you can see how much turn now I get with my hips. Now I can also finish the turn by placing the club across my chest, and I can assure you, even if you think you're rather unflexible, I can assure you that you will create at least 90 degrees of shoulder turn. When you have a good feeling with that exercise, we can implement the third step, which is the correct finish position. For that, we can place a water bottle right next to our trail heel. And the task is to not make the water bottle fall over. And if we get that good hip slide, and if we get that checkpoints, lead hip towards the target, trail shoulder low and back, and trail heel coming more towards the target instead of going away, I'm making sure I don't touch the water bottle. If I don't get into these correct checkpoints, you will see that the water bottle falls over, and this will give you a very good information if you did the correct checkpoints in the finish position or not. If you have any questions about this video, feel free to post them in the comments down below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, leaving a like and maybe sharing this video with your friends. See you next time.